Hi, I'm Norm Abram. Welcome to the new Yankee Workshop. Now, it's from antique chestnut beams like these that I can harvest enough material to build a writing desk like this. Now, we got inspiration from an antique original that we found in the Napa Valley of California. I'll show you that next, right here on the new Yankee Workshop.
The new Yankee Workshop features the craftsmanship of Norm Abram.
1994 Chardonnay has a very crisp nose. You know, out here in wine country, if you're not making the wine or tasting the wine, you're talking about the wine. And you've caught me here making some wine notes. But what better place to do it than out on this patio on top of this antique reproduction desk? Now, what I like about this desk is the fact that it's made out of nice old pine. The top is just the right size. It has some nicely turned legs and this pencil drawer, which I guess you hardly need anymore. Now, I think this would be a very useful project, and we should build one at the new Yankee Workshop. Let's see, next, the 92 Pinot Noir. Let's see. Well, in case we ever do go back to pencil and paper, I decided that the pine might be too soft for a desk. And since I had some access to some antique chestnut, that's what I built ours with. Now, there were some defects that I had to repair, and I used little Dutchmen, and I'll show you how to make those a little bit later. There was a small knot there. There was a knot that went all the way through right here, and there was a split in the board right along this joint. Now, I still have to contend with these wormholes because a pencil could still fall into those, and I'll deal with that a little bit later. Now, if you'd like to build this chestnut desk, a measure drawing is available with the materials list, and you'll hear more about that before the program ends. Now, I want to get started today by milling up some boards to glue up a blank for the top. Now, before we spend any more time using our power tools, let's talk about shop safety. Be sure to read, understand, and follow all the safety rules that come with your power tools. Knowing how to use your power tools properly will greatly reduce the risk of personal injury. And remember this, there is no more important safety rule than to wear these safety glasses, and of course, use hearing protection when necessary. If you take a look at this board that I just ran through the planer, you start to see how nicely the chestnut cleans up. Now, my antique wood supplier purchases beams from buildings that are being torn down and saws them into 1-inch thick boards. What I'm doing here is making the boards uniform in thickness. First, I'll run all the boards through the surface planer, then I'll lower the planer and run all the boards through on the other side. And what I end up with is all boards uniform in thickness. For the last few minutes, I've been taking the boards and running them through the joiner. That squares up the edge and makes it nice and straight so that when I join the boards together, there are no gaps. Now I'm just putting some marks across the intersection of the boards at about 9 inches on center, where I'm going to cut some slots for some beechwood plates that combined with glue will make a really strong joint. Now, before I move any of these around, I want to make sure I keep them in sequence. So I'll put some witness marks across the joint. My biscuit location is a single mark, so I want to start with a double mark to not confuse it. Next one will be 3, and so forth. Right now we'll put a little clamp pressure on these, set it aside to dry, and start working on the legs.
New Orleans.
It's capable of the heights of grandeur, but it's also well known for a casual, laid-back quality.
Join HGTV for a tour of the Big Easy's most charming and eccentric homes. New Orleans, elegance and decadence. Wednesday night at 10 on HGTV.
How does Dannon find beaches that are so succulent? The same way other fruit experts do. Only a lot faster. We which is why the fruit on the bottom of every wholesome, creamy, nutritious Dannon yogurt is bursting with so much flavor. It's everything any fruit lover could hope for. Dannon, made with fruit picked at the peak of delicious.
Today at noon, it's HGTV's exciting hour of appraisals and antiques. Beginning at 12, the appraisal fair travels the country, appraising antiques and heirlooms.
I would think this probably would sell at auction for around $3,000. Wow.
Then at 12:30, Collectible Treasures looks at what's hot in the fascinating world of collectibles. Don't miss HGTV's exciting hour of appraisals and antiques. Today at noon on HGTV Daytime.
Each leg starts out as a piece of 3.5-inch square chestnut, cut exactly the right length. The first thing I want to do is mark the center on each end. So I use this little device. It's a square that has a lip on it that hooks over the edge of the blank. And we can mark the exact center point. The next thing I want to do is take a scratch-awl and just put a mark right at the cross of the lines. And then take my drive center from the lathe and drive that into the wood. Now I just slip the drive center into the lathe. And now I just slide the cup center so that it's about 1/4 of an inch away from the blank, and then turn it into the wood. Now I'll just turn the lathe on at the lowest speed and visually check the piece to see if it's balanced, and that looks good. Now here's a leg that I turned earlier, and you can see that the upper portion, the top 9 inches, is square. So I want to put a mark at each corner to show me that point. Now I'm ready to start doing some turning. I want to make the blank round from that point down to the bottom at about a 3.5-inch diameter. And to do that, I'm going to use my gouge, which is sort of a scoop-shaped tool. I slide my tool rest up near the piece so that it's about 1/8 of an inch away. Give it a spin to make sure it's not going to hit it. And we're ready to start turning. Okay, now that's nice and round, and so I'm ready to start doing some layout. And I made this layout stick, which shows me all the critical transition points. So I'll put a mark at each location, and with the lathe at slow speed, we'll transfer the mark around the piece. Next, I'm going to turn to my parting tool and my calipers. Here I've mounted a prototype as a reference point. I'm going to turn these small flat diameters right here, constantly checking with the calipers the prototype to the piece I'm actually turning. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to turn to a small gouge and turn these cove areas. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my large gouge and start to form a bead right on this portion. Okay, well that looks pretty good. A little bit of sanding, and that'll take care of it. The rails walls of the table are joined to the leg by means of a mortise and tenon joint. I want to cut the mortises in the leg using my dedicated mortising machine, which I've set up with the 3/8-inch square chisel with the drill bit down through the middle. I've adjusted the fence so that the mortise will be 5/8 of an inch from the edge of the leg. And I also have this bar right here which controls the depth of the mortise, which is 1.5 inches. Now for the tenons. We'll make those at the table saw. I've installed this gauge block to control the length of the tenon, which will be 1.5 inches, and I've adjusted the blade so that it's 3/16 above the table. We'll make the shoulder cuts on the face first. Now with the gauge block still in position, but the saw blade raised up to 5/8 of an inch, I can nibble away the top and the bottom of each tenon. I just made a cheek cut on a scrap piece of material to check the fit for the thickness of the tenon. And that's just right, just snug. Now I make that cut using my tenoning jig, which rides in the miter slot of my saw, and it's a way to hold a piece vertically and securely as I make the cut.
Every day more people are choosing Lowe's, and here's why.
There's a complete hardware store inside of every Lowe's. We have more hardware than anyone.
Over 8,000 items in stock.
Including the one you need. And guaranteed everyday low prices.
Things like bolts, springs, cabinet hardware.
Even this?
Extruded U-nuts? Sure. And in 6 different sizes.
Plus ropes, chains, construction hardware, and more.
Everything from washers to dryers.
But that's another commercial.
When it comes to home improvement, Lowe's knows.
Over 2 million acres of our wildlands burn each year, and hundreds of homes are lost as a result.
At least 50 homes were burned to the ground. Dozens more were damaged as fires raced through dense brush and steep canyons.
Flames don't know the difference between forest, rangelands, and homes. Learn how you can fireproof your home. For more information, contact your local fire protection agency, state forestry office, or the USDA Forest Service.
Is it cream or cremora royale? Cream or cremora royale? Introducing a delicious new taste that's so indulgently rich and creamy, don't be surprised if you can't tell. Is it cream or new cremora royale?
Every battery says they're better. One thing's for sure. With Railback, you get long-lasting alkaline power for less money. If you don't think they're just as good, you get your money back. You heard it here first.
Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of smokers have quit with Nicoderm CQ. Why? Because it helps calm your cravings with 3 steps to help bring you closer to your goal. And with Nicoderm CQ, you don't have to take some new drug or wait to get a prescription from the doctor. After all, you want to quit smoking, not make an appointment to quit smoking. Nicoderm CQ, the power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to help you quit.
Do your closets look like this? You need magic hangers, the amazing space savers that double your closet space in seconds. Just place magic hangers on the rod, add your clothes. Each magic hanger saves over 1 foot of closet space. Hang heavy sweaters, coats, trousers, children's clothing, and more. So strong it holds over 30 pounds of weights. It's like adding a whole new closet to your home. Competing offers hold 39 garments, but the amazing magic hanger offer holds over 100 garments. Now order magic hangers for an amazing TV price of 99 cents each in sets of 20. That's just $19.80 for 20 magic hangers. But wait, you get the bonus tie rack. Keeps 48 ties wrinkle-free. Call in the next 10 minutes and save $5 off your order. That's just $14.80 for 20 magic hangers and tie rack. An incredible value. Turn this into this. Order now.
To order your magic hangers for $14.80 plus shipping, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-515-2299. That's 1-800-515-2299. Call now.
Well, we've got ourselves another beautiful day here at the workshop. Now, I want to get started this morning by finishing up the rails. I have to cut an opening in one of the long rails for the draw. I also want to mill a decorative bead at the bottom edge of all the rails. And if I tip the table up so you can see underneath, there's a few more things. I need to make a dado at the front and back rails to receive this piece of plywood which supports the draw. I also have to make a groove along all the rails that additionally support the draw and receive the clips that hold down the top. Now here's the front rail with the draw layout. I'm going to cut it with a small trim saw, but first I want to put this piece of plywood, which will act as a straight edge to guide the saw in place. Now I'll use screws to attach it, making sure I put the screws in the waste material. Now with the base plate up against the guide, I'll loosen the depth control knob and carefully plunge the saw blade through the work. Now we'll just flip it around, reset the straight edge, and cut the other side. Now for the decorative bead. I've set up a 1/2-inch beading bit in my router shaper table. Now the important thing here is to make sure that I hold the rail tight to the table surface as I push it through. Now that's one of the cross dados that receive the plywood supports for the draw. I'll finish running this side and then the back rail. Now with the dado head reduced to 3/8 of an inch in width, I can run the grooves for the clips that hold the top. Well, a little bit of glue applied to the tenons and each mortise is all that's necessary to hold this piece together. Now, using just the saw blade, I've nibbled away a rabbet in a piece of pine that becomes the top portion of the draw support system. It fits right in the groove that I milled in the rail earlier, and I'll glue it and nail it in place. These are the side supports, and a hardwood cleat will get screwed along the bottom edge that will actually support the draw. Okay, that takes care of the base. Let's get to work on the top. With the top sanded, I'm using a straight edge clamp and my trim saw to cut the ends straight and square. I'm just easing the corners of the top with my jigsaw. To ease the edges on the top, I'm using a 1/4-inch radius roundover bit. Now, some of this wood is so bad that I can't sand out the defects. I'm going to patch them using what's known as a Dutchman, or a wooden patch. Now, I have a bunch of hardboard templates with different shapes for the Dutchman that sort of remind me of patches I've seen in the past. I've installed some double-stick tape, which will hold it in position over the area while I route out the bad material using my router, which is equipped with this little bushing. It works great. Watch. All right, now to cut the patch, I'm going to remove the brass collar and just use the small portion. I want to make sure that I carefully plunge the collar right in at the corner of my template. Keep the collar tight to the edge as I cut the patch. Now I just remove the template and we'll cut a thin piece of material at the table saw. Now, a good sharp utility knife is all that's needed to remove the patch. A little sanding on the corners will make it fit, and a little glue will hold it in place.
Order a home video of the project you've just seen Norm build, complete with a measure drawing and materials list. Call toll-free 1-800-892-0110. The price is $24.95 plus shipping and handling. Get the measure drawing alone for only $10. The number again is 1-800-892-0110.
That weight on your shoulders looks pretty heavy, son.
It's taxes.
Go on.
Not just my taxes. I'm doing my sister's, my nephew's. Everyone's getting married, having kids. I don't even know if I'm doing them right.
Son, there have been over 800 tax law changes. Maybe they're expecting too much of you.
Yeah. Hey, I don't think I got your name.
H&R Block. We know. Do you?
Sometimes when you're shopping for lumber, it's hard to find a good piece. You run into flaws like these. Pitch pockets. Warped. Waned. That's why Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse carries Top Choice lumber. Top Choice is guaranteed free from most defects, so you get lumber that's straighter with fewer knots and less bark for no more than some places charge for lower quality lumber. Ooh, see this? We call that kindling. No good. Top Choice lumber at Lowe's. Because when it comes to lumber, Lowe's knows.
There's a place in your mind you still go, isn't there? The little beach town where melon and sea foam colored memories remain as vivid as the day they were painted. The best of life, sparkling like colored reflections in the water. Then suddenly, years gone. There's a way back. Enter HGTV's Dream Home Giveaway and win our fully furnished custom home at Rosemary Beach, Florida's most majestic planned community. This is the way coastal living used to be. Simple, wonderful. To make things even better, there's a $19.99 Cadillac Escalade to go with your new home in your new hometown. It's all brought to you by Sears and Cadillac, along with these national sponsors. To enter, visit any Sears store, enter online at hgtv.com, or send a handwritten postcard with your name, address, and phone number to the address shown. Entrants automatically become eligible to win one of 5 Sears shopping sprees. HGTV's Dream Home at Rosemary Beach. Memories are waiting for you there.
Some days, you can hardly wait to get home. You've got plans. Big plans. Great taste. A certain style. A place that's all your own. You love your home. That's why there's Home and Garden Television. Your cable channel for remodeling, decorating, gardening, and crafts. HGTV, the country's only channel devoted to your home and garden.
Now, these holes are for screws to secure the top, and I've elongated them to allow the top to move with changes in humidity. Now, a screw through the pine cleat in the center, and at the ends I'm going to use these little wooden clips like I showed you earlier on the prototype. They slip into the groove. I hold them about 1/4 of an inch away from the leg. Well, now for the draw, and I'm starting with the draw front, rabbiting the ends 5/8 of an inch by 3/8 of an inch. Now I've just milled a 3/8 inch by 3/8 inch rabbet at the top and the bottom of the draw front. We need these rabbets because the draw is an overlay draw, bigger than the opening. Now this dado and one in the other side piece will receive the back of the draw. Now this 1/4 inch groove in the side pieces will receive the draw bottom. After a minor adjustment to the rip fence, here's the groove in the front for the draw bottom. I'm beginning to form a groove in the ends of the draw front to make a lock joint. I'll do it in 2 passes. Now we'll adjust the tenoning fixture to make the groove a little bit wider. Now that was the first pass of 2 necessary to make the groove in the side pieces to complete the lock joint. Okay, let's see how it fits. That's good. Well, a little bit of glue is all we need to secure the lock joint. A little bit of glue and a couple brads is all that's needed to secure the back joint. Now the draw bottom. And this is not secured with glue, just a few brads along the back. Now, in order to let the natural beauty of this antique chestnut really show through, I decided to use a Danish oil finish. I put on 2 coats. First, a heavy coat, let it dry for about 30 minutes, then apply another coat, let that dry for 15 minutes, and then wipe up any excess that hasn't dried. Now, I've decided to do nothing about the wormholes, but after this oil dries, about 72 hours, I'm going to put on 2 coats of a satin polyurethane just on the tabletop, and that should protect it from any wear and tear that it's going to get. In furniture making, proportions mean everything. And in this case, I think we got the proportions just right. I can hardly wait to sit down and start writing at it.